Hello, YouTube, and welcome to the Cosmic Classroom. This is our third class, and today we're talking about the planets. I'm telling you everything you need to know about the planets and how they relate to astrology. My notes are kind of blinding. But welcome in. Welcome. We have a Twitch chat down here live. I do these classes live on Twitch if you want to come hang out. And I have my link to my Twitch down below in the description. So, welcome. I'm excited. And I always get a little nervous teaching these, but I'm excited to info dump about astrology. Let's go. Ah! Okay, so today I wish I could make just this one. Oh, wait, is there dark mode? I just wish my notes weren't like quite so blinding, but it's fine. I should have thought about that before. So I was nervous. I was like, I can talk about the zodiac signs, no problem. I was like, not sure what I was gonna cover with the planets. I was like, I can tell you about each one. But then once I got going, there was a lot of information. So we're gonna learn a lot today. The planets are so fun. And I think it's easy because everyone like at least knows what the planets are. So anyways, but yeah, this class I'm gonna go planet by planet and I'm going to explain what they mean in astrology. I have a quick note. I know that not all of these are technically planets. The sun and the moon are luminaries. I'm aware of that. Pluto, it's got its own identity crisis going on. I'm aware. But in astrology, we group them all together as placements because they all have the same role in your chart. So, I also have some fun little mythology notes on each planet too. So you'll get to hear me reference some like Greek and Roman mythology. Yeah, astrology uses the Roman names. Ooh, startled me. Uses the Roman names for please. For the planets, but a lot of the stories come from Greek mythology. Basically the same gods, but with different names and slightly different vibes. But those stories help kind of explain the energy of each planet in a bit of a more intuitive way. So, she worked hard on this, and everybody better be nice and pay attention. Yeah, exactly. Pluto deserves to be a planet. Pluto is a dwarf planet, and we love her. Yeah, nerd, shut up about it. Celestial bodies. The sun and the moon are luminaries, I know, but they play an important role with the rest of the planets. So, Haven, at least put your phone on silent. Greek, yeah. The Greek names better than the Roman names, but combo for another time. But when I dive into the mythology, I do make sure to tie the Roman names in with their Greek mythology counterpart because that's the Greek ones are the ones that people like are more familiar with. Hi Ginger, welcome in. Suspiciously married. 86 years, let's go. Welcome in, Ginger. All right, so that was my intro is today. All right, so you know what we got to start with? I know it's not a planet. We're starting with the sun. The sun. Okay, so the sun, this is very clearly a picture of the sun, but the one on the right is the symbol that you're going to see on your birth chart for the sun. So if you want to find the sun in your chart, you're going to look for the little circle with the other little circle in it. Yes, so you can walk through this with your chart open, and I have the symbols for all of the different planets and luminaries, so that you can follow along. Get your charts out. Yes, it does. It looks like a bagel or donut. I agree. Ooh, 78%. Not bad. Okay, so first, I'm like, where am I? I start out just by giving a little information. This is about me now. I love the sun. It gives me warmth. Yes. It's very important. We love the sun. Leo rules the sun. Let's go. All right. All right. Leave it to the Leos. So, the sun. As you guys should all know, the sun changes sign every 30 days. So basically, every time it changes into like Aries season, Taurus season, Gemini season. That is the sun entering a new sign every 30 days. The sun rules Leo. We die without the sun. It's true. So not all of them, but the sun has obviously the day of the week, Sunday. So people that work with with astrology like on a very day-to-day basis will use Sundays for sun activities. I don't even know if that makes sense, but as I talk about the planets, it'll hopefully click. The metal correspondent is gold, and the colors associated with the sun are gold, orange, and yellow. Now, into the real information. Those are just some fun facts. So, the sun in your birth chart. The sun is all about your identity and your ego, your vitality, and your life force. So, if your chart was like a cast of characters, the sun is going to be the main character. This is your core self and your core personality, your main character energy, how you shine and express yourself, and it's your purpose and identity. This is your Eunice. Eunice. Is that a word? Sundays on Sunday. So, since the dawn of humanity, the sun and its illumination has always been sacred. Like Martine said, if we didn't have the sun, we would die. It's literally our life force and our vitality. And in mythology, it's often personified as its own deity. Like in Egyptian mythology, Ra, Apollo for Greek, Surya for Hinduism. So, but yeah, so this is your like your ego, stuff like that. When it comes to the signs, the sun sign, that is how you express yourself. So, for example, I knew the Leos would come out of the woodwork, so the sun in Leo would be bold and expressive and love to shine. Or the sun in Virgo could be someone that's thoughtful and detail-oriented and helpful. Now, bear with me. I'm going to talk about the houses a little bit. That will be next episode, so I'm going to keep it pretty surface level, and then hopefully this will click more next part. But where the sun lies in your chart in different houses can tell you where you shine. So the sun in your first house could be somebody that has a strong presence or is very identity focused. someone with their sun in the 10th house, which is going to be up at the top of your chart. Could be someone that shines when it comes to like their career, their public image, or recognition. So basically, for the sun is your core self, your light and your identity and the energy. You're here to shine. Life force, yes. Are we Sith? Maybe. Some of us. Who's got Cheetos? Everybody got their sunscreen. So, that is the sun. That's our first planet. Any questions before we move on to the moon? Any thoughts about the sun? Any questions about their sun sign or their houses in the sun? You're welcome to have snacks in class. Just don't crinkle the bag too loudly. I will get overstimulated. I know, I love the moon. Clear so far. Perfect. Love Ra, the sun god. I know. I love that, like, it seems like most mythologies have some sort of god that like ties in as the sun. Which is really really cool, really fun. But oof. Okay, so next up we have the moon. I love the moon. I love her. So, the moon. I actually have a telescope and I got to take a picture that looked It's an eclipse. It's an eclipse. A squirrel clips. Sorry. I'm a squirrel. I started talking about my telescope too. And I took a picture that looked just like that. So, 10 out of 10. Recommend using a telescope. Anyways. So if you're looking for the moon in your chart, pretty easy to find. It is just going to be like a little crescent moon symbol. Shout out telescopes. Exactly. But yeah, so you're going to just look for a little like crescent moon shape in your chart, and that's going to tell you where the moon is in your chart. What's your moon sign? Stuff like that. So, switching to the moon. Here we go. The moon changes sign every 2.5 days. Every 2.5 days, the moon shifts into a new sign. The moon rules Cancer. Day of the week is Monday, Moon Day. The metal associated with the moon is silver, and the colors associated with the moon are white and silver. Very fun. All right. So, getting into the meat of the moon. Huh? Also, shout out NASA. Let's go. They're on their way there now. If you're watching this on YouTube, the Artemis launch just happened yesterday, and I'm still feeling very emotional about it. Moon meat. Anyways, so the moon in your chart. The moon in your chart is your emotions, your inner world, your intuition, and your comfort. This is your emotional self, how you process feelings, what makes you feel safe, and your instincts and reactions. So, if the sun is your main character, the moon is kind of your inner world. The sun is who you are outwardly, the moon is who you are more privately. So, this is how you feel and react and self soothe. So, okay, I'm gonna shoot him real quick. No! Okay, keep it moving. If you think during the day, when the sun is out, our activities are guided by the sun, then when we're on our own at the end of the day, the moon asks us how we feel about everything that happened over the course of the day. Ooh, Cancer gang, nice. Nice. Love my Cancers. So, the mythology with the moon is just honestly quite often tied to like cycles and intuition and femininity, often represented by lunar goddesses. So, in Greek and Roman mythology, the moon was associated with several different female deities: Luna, Diana, Artemis, Juno, Selene. Um, each goddess was assigned to one of the moon's phases, and all have very different personalities, symbolizing the moon's changing dispositions as it transforms in the sky. Beautiful. I love the moon. But yeah, so in your chart, where the moon is shows your emotional needs and what makes you feel safe. So if you look at the sign that the moon is in, this is going to tell you how you feel and process emotions. So someone with the moon in Cancer might feel more nurturing, sensitive, protective. Someone with their moon in Aquarius might feel a little more detached and logical and independent. So there's definitely, with the planets, there's signs that the planets feel a little bit happier in. So, for example, the moon loves to feel very safe and cozy, so it thrives more when it's in signs like Cancer or Taurus. But in like Capricorn or Scorpio, it's like, okay, emotions are either locked down or turned up to 100. So there might be a little bit more of a struggle with those signs. The house that the moon is in is going to be where in your life that emotions show up most, or like the most prevalent. So the moon in the 4th house might tie into like your home life, family, and your roots. And then the moon in the 7th house could be more tied to like relationships or connection. Basically, your moon is your emotional home base. That's the moon. Hi, Jess. Welcome in. The moon is so complex and mysterious. She really is that girl. I agree. You guys ever just go outside and see the moon and you just say, I love you. I love you, my girl. Anybody else talking to the moon? But yeah, probably one of my favorite planet luminaries. Celestial bodies. We love her. Could stare at the moon for hours, right? Is that a TikTok? Is what a TikTok? And yes, oh my gosh, we just mentioned the Artemis 2 launch, Jess. It was so cool. I got a little emotional watching, but what a cool thing. What a cool thing to get to watch. I watched it here on Twitch. No. Oh, like talking to the moon? I just said that because I do. Because sometimes I do just go outside and say hi. But, all right. Next up, any questions about the moon before we move on to our friend Mercury? Ooh. Mercury. Here's where we get into we're moving past the luminaries, moving into the planets. Ooh, backyard has a great view of our girl. I love it. Mercury, the microwave planet. Mercury, the planet that we blame for everything. Ooh, there's a live stream on YouTube that shows live views from the ship when they have a good connection. Wait, I'm gonna have to check that out, Jess. Thank you. That's cool. I didn't even think to look into that. That's incredible. It was so fun to watch the launch. And also, there's a video I've been seeing of people that were on a plane that got to see the launch happening from a plane in the air, which was so cool. But, okay, thank you. Let me Let me hydrate. Thank you. Okay, first of all, I guess my first thought was like, I'm surprised that they let planes get that close. And then I was like, it's probably not that close. Like, the plane was probably not really anywhere near the launch. But it looked like, what a cool view. And how cool to be able to say you saw the launch from an airplane. The rocket's a big boy, right? And my mind just can't fathom the distances and all of that. But yeah, so cool. Also, I'm getting off track here, but I did get to go visit Kennedy Space Center once, and it's such a cool place. Very fun. They have like launch simulators and stuff. Yeah, I think Canaveral is restricted airspace. No, did you see the cute little zero gravity indicator? No, I didn't. Yeah, but that makes sense about Canaveral. Went there when I was a kid. It's sweet. It's so cool. I think I was saying in Martine's chat yesterday, my dad actually grew up in like Cocoa Beach, Florida, Cape Canaveral, like all of that. And so he got to like see some really cool launches from his backyard. Very fun. Saw a second angle of another plane. Wow. I wish we could go to space like Miss Frizzle's class. Right. Don't get me started. I will play the Magic School Bus theme song. We did it last week. We started jamming to the Magic School Bus and reading Rainbow, and then we got lost down a rabbit hole. Fun dad fact. Get to know Squirrely's dad from Florida. Thank you. Sorry, Mercury. And you know what? Mercury is why I'm like this, by the way. Mercury gave me ADHD. Never mind. All right. So, oh my gosh. Okay, I'll have to take a look. Will you also send me that on Discord so I don't lose it? Moon lover. Okay, so back to class. We have Mercury. Mercury, our friend. Where's my Mercury notes? So, Mercury gave me ADHD. Thank you, Ginger. They're my professor glasses. The moon, huh? Cal. Almost read that out loud. Hi, Sarah. Welcome in. And Flo. Cal. Flo, thank you for the 6 months. I love you. She's a kitty. That's too good. Torn on quoting that. Or behaving for YouTube. Flo, thank you so much for resubscribing for 6 months. I love you so much. I appreciate you. And it's good to see you. Alrighty, now we're ready to get into Mercury. Kai's gonna come take his seat again, and then we're good. Stop making me cry. I can't. I just love you so much. Alright. Mercury. Let me go to the next slide. Okay, wait, first. There's Mercury, I think. And then this is what you're going to look for. If you've got your chart in front of me, this little guy is what you're looking for when you're looking for Mercury in your chart. This little guy with the little doodad. Scientific terms there. So, Mercury is going to change sign about every 14 days. Mercury rules over Gemini and Virgo. Mercury's day of the week is Wednesday. And what's a fun fact, with a lot of these day of the week correspondences, you may not see it in like the English word Wednesday, but like in Spanish, Wednesday is miércoles. Mercury. Yep. So, if you were needing a day to schedule a meeting or to have some really good communication, Wednesday is the day. The metal, Mercury, Quicksilver, obviously, and the color correspondence is gray. So, let me see. Oh, in French too. I don't know how to do French pronunciations, but I'm gonna take your word for it. So it's really cool how a lot of like the mythology and some of the language we use. Thank you, Jess, for the resub. I appreciate you. Yeah, little guy with horns. But yeah, it's fun to see how it all ties together. Miss Squirrel, my old man, told me the government has a secret base on the dark side of the moon where they experiment on reptile cloning and shit. Is that true? I have not read about that in my astrology studies, unfortunately. You may have to ask another professor that question. But great question. Thank you. Hi, Sarah. I'm doing good. How are you? I'm happy it's Thursday. Where they made Selena Gomez. Oh, you like the glasses, Flo? You like the professor glasses? But let me see. Thank you again, Jess, for the resub for 2 months. I appreciate you. Thank you. Okay. Leave it to Mercury to get us all off track. But you know what? We're in ads, so I think it's okay if we stall for a second. I know. I'm so happy it's almost Friday. I genuinely was working until 5 minutes before the stream. I was getting ready. I was trying to get some work stuff, clocked out, and then turned and went live. Oh yeah, a lot of people off tomorrow. I am not off. I have had it off work before, but unfortunately I am working tomorrow. I think it depends on how many holidays we have. I'm not sure. No, I work Friday and Monday. Oh, no. I'm working. The Canadians are pissed. Sunday's Easter. It's okay. It's okay. Easter Monday. Yeah. Nope. We're working. R.I.P. It's rough. But it's all good. I do feel like I have a fair amount of holidays off throughout the year. So it's fine. I would love to be off though. Anyways, let me get back to Mercury. We're back from ads. Thank you for sitting through them. If you did, you mainly just missed me getting distracted. No, you're good. No, I'm happy to yap. I'm happy to yap. You know it. How many days off do you get? I'm not sure about PTO, but if you mean holidays, I think we get like 12 or 13 holiday days off. So I feel grateful because I know that's more than a lot of places. Okay. Mercury. Mercury is the messenger. That's Mercury's archetype. Mercury is all about communication and thinking and learning. It is how you think and process information, your communication style, how you learn and express ideas, and your mental vibe, your texting style. Yeah, so Mercury, your mind and communication. It's how your brain works and how you explain it to other people. So it's not what you think, but it's how you think it. Fun fact, Mercury is never more than one sign away from your sun sign. So, my sun sign's Gemini, so The only options for my Mercury sign would be Taurus, Gemini, or Cancer. Fun fact. Yes. Never more than one sign away from your sun sign. Which is very fun. A fun fact. You know what? I wish I understood how the planets move. I have such a hard time visualizing it. But yeah, I'm like, it must be the proximity with Earth and the sun. I don't know. I'm gonna need to look at a graphic to answer. Let's see here. Educated yapping. Yes, that's true. They orbit around the sun. Thank you, Sam. Very true. A great point. Did I? Anyways, let me dive into the mythology for a second. This is where it starts to get a little fun. Some of these planets have some interesting mythology. So, in Roman mythology, Mercury was the divine messenger. So, you probably are familiar with Hermes, which is the Greek counterpart. So, very similar to Hermes. But yeah, Mercury was the divine messenger that delivered messages between gods and humans and even the underworld. He's quick and clever and a little bit chaotic. So, when we're talking about Mercury in your chart, we're talking about how you deliver and receive messages. So, yeah. Uh-oh. It's in front of my notes. So yeah, in your chart, if you look at your chart, looking at this little guy right here behind Emolga. I keep forgetting that's there. So, if you find this little guy in your chart, it's going to tell you how you communicate and process information. So, the sign that your Mercury is in will tell you how you think and communicate. So, for example, Mercury in Gemini would be quick and chatty and curious. Someone with Mercury in like Capricorn might communicate in a more structured or practical or direct way. Mercury tends to feel very at home in Gemini and Virgo because it rules over those planets. Because those signs thrive on communication and details. But Mercury can struggle a bit in signs like Sagittarius or Pisces because Sagittarius and Pisces are just a little bit more like big picture. They're a little more based on vibes rather than facts and information. And then the house that Mercury is in is going to be where communication shows up most in your life. So, Mercury in the third house would be more like everyday communication and learning and your siblings. Whereas Mercury in the 12th house might be more, internal thoughts. You might be a little more introspective or have a more private mind. So, yeah, and again, we will get into the houses in the next episode. So, I'm kind of not going too deep into that today, but hopefully it will make more sense in the next class. Back to the chat. Let me say hello. Oh, hi, Gubby. Thank you for the follow. Welcome in. So, he's me. Chicken grilled wrap with sweet potato fries. Oh, that sounds amazing, Flo. Yes. But I'm also Hello! Braiders! Hello! hold on. I'll switch to my chatting for a second because I don't have my raid graphic in the classroom. But welcome in, raiders. Hi. How's it going? Oh, I'm gonna move this actually. I should have moved it. Nope, now it's behind chat. It's fine. It's fine. You guys don't need to see me. Hi, Morgan. Welcome in. It's so good to see you. How are you? Welcome in. If you guys don't know me, I'm CosmicSquirrely. Today we are doing a little bit of an astrology class. I'm teaching about the planets in astrology. Yay! If you guys missed the first two parts, I did a little astrology basics class, and I did a class where I did like a deep dive on the zodiac signs, and those are in the YouTube video that we have pinned at the top of chat. Those are both on my YouTube. So, but welcome in. We're just getting to Mercury, so there's still plenty of planets to learn. And then you can always pop over to YouTube if you're interested in catching the earlier ones. But thank you so much for the raid. Also, if any of you need to raid and run, please go take care of yourself. Oh, you're co-working. I love those co-working streams. But welcome in and thank you for the follows. And feel free to lurk or ask any questions that you may have. But we go back to the classroom. So yeah, I was just talking a little bit about Mercury. Actually just finished up Mercury, but Mercury in your chart tells about how you communicate and think and process things. Lurking and learning sounds good. Thank you. Thank you again for the raid and bringing the friends over. Next up, a personal favorite of mine, we have Venus. So, again, if you have your birth charts in front of you, it looks very similar to Mercury, but Mercury has the little horns. It has the little hat on. This is the Venus symbol. So, you're just going to find this girl in your chart, and it's going to tell you everything you need to know. That's my girl, Venus. She's a lady. We love Venus. So, Venus, the archetype, the lover. Venus changes sign about every 4 to 5 weeks. It rules Taurus and Libra. And the Venus day of the week is Friday, or Viernes in Spanish, which is very close to Venus. The metal is copper, and the color is green. And similar in French too. I love that. We have our French tutor in class. Oh, it does help it helps make it easy to remember like the correspondences with the days of the week. But I love, okay, first of all, I love Fridays and I love Venus, and there's something about I'll get into it, but Venus is about like getting cozy and feeling, feeling good about yourself and enjoying yourself, and I just think there's no better day of the week than Friday for that. So, yeah, I like the color is green since copper turns green with age, right? Isn't that so cool? That's my girl too. We love Venus. We love you, Venus. So, Venus, love, beauty, pleasure, attraction. This is your love language. This is what you're attracted to, your aesthetic and your style, and what brings you joy. So, Venus is your love language, your attraction style. I have in my notes, it's how you give and receive love, but I will say, I feel like the vibes with Venus are more about the receiving. And Mars has a lot to do with how you give love, but I do think like Venus really ties in with your love language. I feel like Mars might tie in more with like how you pursue somebody. Anyways, similarly to Mercury, Venus is actually never going to be more than 2 signs away from your sun sign. So it can get a little further from your sun sign, but as a Gemini, my Venus could only be Taurus, Aries, Gemini, Cancer, or Leo. Can't have your Venus on the opposite side of the chart or anything like that. So that's fun. In Roman myth, let's talk mythology. So Venus in Roman myth would be similar to Aphrodite in Greek mythology. So Venus is the goddess of love and beauty and desire. She's all about attraction and pleasure and feeling good, with maybe a little bit of an indulgent streak. So in your chart, he is looking. Anyways. In your chart, Venus is going to show how you love and what you're attracted to and what you value. So, the sign, your Venus sign, shows how you love and attract. So, for example, a Venus in Taurus, like Martine and I, would be loyal and sensual and comfort loving. Whereas something like Venus in Aries might be more bold and direct and passionate. Okay. No respect for the mic. So Venus thrives in Taurus and Libra, where it rules, because those are signs that really value like connection and harmony and enjoyment. Venus can struggle a bit more in signs like Aries or Scorpio, where love can be a little bit more impulsive or intense or complicated. But for the house that it's in, the house that your Venus sign is in is going to show where love and pleasure and comfort show up for you. So, if your Venus is in your second house, you may find those things in your self-worth or your money or your values. Or if Venus is in like your fifth house, you could find that in fun or creativity or like flings, like romance flings. So basically, Venus recap. In your chart, Venus shows what you're drawn to, what you value, and what feels good to you. Barks at Venus, right? We love her. We love her. We love Venus. Venus, please sponsor us. Venus? Vanessa? Yes, Venus. Yeah, I love that Venus rules Taurus. Feel that deeply. I find it so interesting. Oh, I'm just gonna start info dumping astrology, but it's so interesting. It rules over Taurus and Libra, who are both. They're very similar in Venusian ways, but Taurus is like very about the material and the sensual and the comforts and things like that, and then Libra's like more mental. So that's fun. Any questions about Venus before we move on to Mars? Mars. Yeah, but we love Venus. We love Venus. All good, all good. Let's go. Martine's ready for Mars. Mars, this red planet. And here we have the symbol for Mars. So again, if you're looking at your birth chart, wondering how to find your Mars sign, you're looking at this little guy. This big boy. So, Mars, here we go. Mars, the warrior. Mars is going to change sign about every 6 to 7 weeks. Sorry, the fan's getting a little intense. Yeah, Mars changes sign about every 6 to 7 weeks. It rules Aries and Scorpio. Day of the week. We got our French tutor probably coming in with some fun fact, but Mars, Tuesday, Martes. The metal is iron. And obviously, color is red. Marty. Oh, Marty. Makes sense. Oh, it's the music. I thought something was like caught in my fan. Oh, Monday is the Lundi. That's so cool. I love how it all ties in. And then it's kind of like with English, what happened here? But I love it. Okay, so Mars. Mars. The fiery boy, the warrior. So Mars is all about action, drive, passion. It's about drive, it's about power. We stay hungry, we devour. Anger. How you take action, your motivation and energy, how you handle conflict, and your go after it energy. So if Venus is how you attract, then Mars is how you pursue. It's your let's do something about it energy. Exactly. So, Mars, mythology moment. Mars is the Roman god of war. The Greek counterpart is Ares, Ares. But yes, the god of war. Ares was actually more chaotic and aggressive, while Mars was seen as more disciplined and strategic. So, Mars isn't just about fighting, but it's about focused action, courage, and using your drive with intention. It's that balance between raw impulse and controlled strength. So, in your chart, your Mars sign shows you how you take action, how you express anger, and how you pursue what you want. So the sign, your Mars sign, is going to show the how of how you go after things or how you act. So for example, Mars in Aries is going to be bold and fast and impulsive, whereas Mars in Virgo might be more precise and controlled and detail oriented. Mars thrives in Aries or Scorpio, the signs it rules. Because action and intensity come very naturally with those signs. Whereas Mars can feel a little more challenged in signs like Libra or Taurus, where action could be slower than Mars likes it, or possibly more indirect than Mars likes it. Why you like this, huh? But, oh, I had a little tangent to go on. And I made a note because as I was making my notes, I was thinking about astrology and I wanted to add, as a reminder for all of this astrology stuff, that these are, sorry, gurgled. These are just little puzzle pieces of your chart, right? So there may be things that or pieces that feel like they don't fit until you step back and look at the whole picture, which would be like your whole chart. So, personal example, my Mars is in Leo. And as I started learning astrology, it did not make any sense to me. Nope. As I started studying astrology, I was always saying, the Mars in Leo does not make sense. I was so confused by that because I'm not a super fiery, bold, like, look at me kind of person. And so for a long time I was like, this doesn't fit me at all. But having a Leo Mars doesn't inherently mean that I suddenly had to be this fiery person because none of the rest of my chart has that big fiery energy, you know? So instead of looking at my Leo Mars and thinking like, oh, I must be a you know, big fiery leader, it might show up as my motivation comes from creativity or from being recognized for what I do. And when I do get that fire lit under me, it might come out a little more dramatic or stubborn than people expect. So, when I go through like the placements and stuff like that, um, it's less about being one specific thing and more about how this little bit of energy shows up within the context of your whole chart. So if something in your chart doesn't resonate right away, that doesn't mean it's wrong. It just means we're looking at the piece of the puzzle by itself rather than how it fits into the whole picture. So, there's my tangent. I think I'm missing some chats. um God of War, played that game before, perfect. Love a squirrely tangent. Was that your tummy? It was my throat. That was my throat. But anyways, that's my tangent. And I think it's really hard when you're first getting into astrology and first learning it. It's hard to not just look at the pieces and try to understand them separately because you just don't really know how to understand the whole chart. They're screaming. Hi, Jesse, welcome in. But yeah, so that's my astrology tangent. But yeah, I was writing about Mars and I just remember like getting so stuck when I was studying astrology because I was like, Leo Mars, where? Why are you like this? Are you gonna meow into the mic? Anyways, oh, Nibbles. We love Nibbles. Grilled cheese. Okay. Please. Please, Bubby. Anyways, so that's Mars. Does anybody have any Mars questions? Martine's on it. But yeah. Any Mars? I think that was all my notes. Oh wait, it wasn't. I didn't talk about the houses. So the house where your Mars is in is going to be where your energy shows up the most, what area of your life. So someone with Mars in the first house might be someone that is very assertive and action oriented and has a strong presence. Someone with Mars in the sixth house might be someone that asserts a lot of their passion and energy into work and routines and productivity and helping people. So yeah, your Mars is your motivation style and how you handle conflict. And that's Mars. And the cats are getting pretty Martian. Get good. No, Buzz, come back. All right, any Mars questions? We're starting to get further out into the solar system. We're starting to get further out there. Buzz. Buzzy, come back. All right. Continue. Next up, we got this big boy. Jupiter. I think this is supposed to be Jupiter. And if you look at your birth chart, this is going to be the symbol for Jupiter. It looks like a 4. And that's how you find it. Jupiter changes sign about every 12 to 13 months. Just over a year. Jupiter stays in the same sign. Jupiter rules Sagittarius and Pisces. The day of the week is Thursday. I'm blanking on Thursday in Spanish? Hold on. Jueves. Starts with a J. Oh, I don't know. I'm not going to try to pronounce that. But starts with a J in French, too. Hi, Mohammed. Welcome in. Welcome, welcome. Congrats on your March gemstone win, Mohammed. I hope you're doing well. Okay, so let's see. Jupiter. The metal correspondence for Jupiter is tin, and the colors, love this, purple. Yep, we restarted the gemstones. Starting fresh for April. Alrighty, so Jupiter. We love Jupiter. Jupiter's about growth and luck, expansion, opportunity. This is where you grow and expand. This is your beliefs and your worldview. This is going to be where opportunities show up and your sense of optimism. So, it's where your life tends to feel abundant. Jupiter and Saturn kind of feel like a duo in my head. Thank you for the 20 stream streak, Mohammed. I appreciate you. Starting strong. Okay. So, Jupiter and Saturn feel kind of like a duo, and I would describe them as like good cop, bad cop, right? Jupiter's good cop, Saturn's bad cop. Or the astrology group that I was in, we call Jupiter and Saturn the sky daddies. Jupiter and Saturn are sky daddies. Jupiter is gonna be your sugar daddy. Jupiter's gonna make sure everything works out for you. Make sure you get everything you want. Saturn's gonna make sure you learn your lesson. Saturn's gonna be your disciplinarian. So, but good cop, bad cop, if you don't feel like calling the planets daddy. But Jupiter always wants more. Yeah, we're looking at the planets a little different now, aren't we? So Jupiter, since it's about expansion. Now I'm flustered. Jupiter is all about more growth, more experience, finding more meaning. Jupiter encourages exploration and learning. The mythology. Let me tell you, the mythology for these last few planets starts to feel like a reality show. So, Jupiter is the Roman king of the gods, who is also known as Zeus in Greek mythology. So Jupiter overthrew his father, Saturn, and became ruler of the heavens, representing power, expansion, and authority. Jupiter energy is big and abundant, but it can amplify everything, good and bad. So, in astrology, it's not just luck, it's growth and expansion in whatever it touches. So, in your chart, if you find the little 4 in your chart, it's going to show where you grow and expand and experience opportunity and luck. So the sign that your Jupiter is in is going to show how. It's the how energy of how you grow and expand. So like Jupiter in Leo is going to be that confident, expressive, growing through creativity and recognition. Jupiter in Capricorn might be more disciplined and practical and grows through structure. Jupiter is the happiest. Jupiter thrives in Sagittarius and Pisces, what it rules, where growth and belief come naturally. But Jupiter can feel a little bit more challenged in Gemini or Virgo because those have that mercurial energy where it's more detail focused or a little bit more scattered or like specific energy. And then the house that Jupiter is in is going to show where in your life you have that Jupiter expanded energy. It's going to show where growth and luck show up the most. So, like Jupiter in the ninth house, you're going to have a lot of growth and expansion through travel and higher learning and your beliefs. Or Jupiter in the second house is going to have that in like money and values and self-worth. So, your Jupiter shows where life feels a little bit more open and abundant. Any questions? Oh. Oh my. I love that one. Those Greeks were dramatic little bitches, so that checks out, right? Thank you for the hydrate, Sammy. Jupiter and Jupiter. Did I say Jupiter and Jupiter? Jupiter and Leo, Jupiter and Capricorn. Did I mix up my words? Shockingly, that's not me, guys. Yes, doesn't Jupiter have a ton of moons? Jupiter. Imagine I went over all the moons. Jupiter has 95 moons. So stay tuned. We will be covering all of these. 95. Pop off. Yeah, that's why Jupiter is daddy. Darlings, hope you're well. You too, Sammy. Oh, okay. I thought I mixed up my words. I'll help you. I'll give you some private tutoring, Sam. How about that? Sam got a rare squirrel. Squidge. Our only animated squirrel. Yeah. Pizza. Alright. I hydrated. I'm gonna hydrate one more time because I keep talking. You're welcome. Alright. You know what's next? Yes, my love. It's our other daddy. Up next is Bad Cop. Saturn. The Taskmaster. Bad Cop. If you're looking for Saturn in your chart, it's gonna be this H looking thing. And Saturn got them rings. Saturn's worked hard to have these rings. Kind of a boss. Kind of boss energy. So, Saturn. Scary. Saturn changes sign just about every 2.5 years. Saturn rules over Capricorn and Aquarius. This one actually makes sense. Here we go. In English, day of the week, Saturn day. Saturn is Saturday. Metal is lead, and the colors are black, gray, and dark brown. So, Saturn. It's about discipline, structure, responsibilities, lessons. This is going to be where you're challenged to grow your responsibilities and boundaries, where you build long-term success and your hard work pays off energy. So, not fun, but necessary. Yeah, not here. Saturn's not here to be fun. Saturn is here to make you better. It's where growth comes through effort. So with the mythology, Saturn's Greek counterpart is Cronus. the father of Zeus. So, Saturn Saturn was the ruler before Jupiter, but became so obsessed with power that he tried to hold on to it by controlling everything, even his own children. More on that later. In mythology, he was eventually overthrown by Jupiter, showing how fear and control can backfire. But overall, Saturn's story is really about hard lessons and consequences and growth through challenge. He's scary. um, but yeah, so if we look at Saturn in your chart, Saturn is going to show where you face challenges, but also where you build strength. So, if we look at the signs, the sign that your Saturn is in is going to show how you experience lessons. So, for example, Saturn in Virgo might be disciplined, detail oriented, and grow through improvement. Saturn in Pisces might be more like lessons around boundaries, emotions, and clarity. So Saturn thrives. Saturn is happiest in Capricorn or Aquarius, the signs that it rules, where structure and responsibility come naturally. But it can feel more challenged in signs like Cancer or Leo, where emotions or ego can make things feel harder. The house that Saturn is in is going to show where in your life these challenges show up. So, for example, Saturn in the fourth house may show challenges and growth through home, family, or your emotional foundation, whereas Saturn in the 10th house might be challenges around career, responsibility, and public image. So, your Saturn shows you where life asks you to step up. Jupiter gives, Saturn makes you earn it. Cronus. Yeah, he's scary. He's scary. Say Momo has fun though, right? Hi Susan, welcome in. Just started a new month, yes. General question, so maybe I should save it for the end. It's up to you. If you wanna get it out right now, I'm fine answering it while we're between signs, or I do have a slide at the end where we can yap and I can answer any questions. So, up to you. Completely up to you. Okay. This is actually where we shift from your placements that really impact who you are as a person. These planets I just went through and luminaries are the ones that like shape you on an individual level. We're getting into now the generational planets. So these are planets that move really slowly. So instead of being super personal, they're a little bit more generational. I probably won't go into quite as much depth with them, but they're more likely to describe themes that entire groups of people experience rather than you as a person. So, how do we pronounce this? Hi Kaiba, welcome in. I pronounce this like um I love it. Anyways, I think I've heard this pronounced so many ways that I pronounce it all three. Uranus, Uranus, or Uranus. Um I think I flip between those. I can't settle on one. I feel like Uranus sounds kind of pretentious, but it also sounds the least like people are gonna laugh at me. Um and think I'm talking about pee or butts. So, so yes, sounds the most Roman. Uranus. Uranus. Then I'll say Uranus. Uranus? Uranus or Uranus? Welcome in, Susan. Okay, so this is our first generational planet, and Uranus. Uranus. My astrology mentor said Uranus, so I feel like that's kind of what I tend to say more, probably. It doesn't matter. It changes sign about every 7 years. It rules Aquarius. Also, one last note, as I get into the generational planets, these are part of modern astrology. So, if you look at traditional astrology, they stop at Saturn. That's why Aquarius was also attached to Saturn, because traditional astrology does not consider Uranus, Neptune, or Pluto in traditional astrology. So every 7 years it lets out a huge sigh. It is beautiful. Hi, Amari. I know. I look at that. Such a cool planet. But yeah, so this is more into the modern astrology. But yeah, rules Aquarius. It does not have a day of the week because, again, that is more of a traditional astrology thing. Metal is uranium. And colors electric blue. How fun. How modern. That feels very modern. So, Uranus. Uranus is all about change, innovation, rebellion, and freedom. Setting changes and disruption, breaking the rules, and thinking differently, individuality and uniqueness, and innovation and new ideas. So, where's my notes? Uranus is the revolutionary. Yeah, this is the planet that shakes things up. Doesn't ask for permission, it just does something new. I have some more fun facts for you guys. I have some Uranus fun facts. I hope you're ready. Sorry, the Patchy Reese was blocking my notes. I didn't plan that well. Fun facts, let's go. Uranus is unusual. Leave it to the planet that's all about innovation and rebellion to be the weirdo. But Uranus was actually the first planet to be discovered by a telescope in 1781. How cool. It is the only celestial body named after a Greek deity. And it's tilted so far on its axis at a 98-degree angle that it's practically on its side. Fun facts. Am I right? We love it. We love it. Yeah. Uranus, you're drunk. Don't call my ass weird. All right. So, those are some fun Uranus facts. So comes from Greek mythology as the sky god and one of the first rulers of the gods. Eventually overthrown by his son Saturn, which ties into Uranus' themes of breaking old systems and making way for something new. After that, he became associated with higher realms of the sky, representing insight, innovation, and big picture thinking. Literally on the side of it, on its side. Twerking on its side. We love it. She's the fun planet. She's the kooky aunt. So, in your chart, it shows where in your life you want freedom and change, where you might want to do things differently than others, and this is where you're a little unconventional. Again, I'm not going to go into the signs because everybody that was born within 7 years of you has the same Uranus sign. But what it can tell you more about is what house it's in your chart. Again, more depth on that next episode. But just some examples. Uranus in the first house, which is like your identity, could be someone that has a very unconventional identity that stands out, that does things in their own way. Uranus in the fourth house, which is your roots and your family dynamics, could be someone that has a very unconventional home life or has a lot of sudden changes in family dynamics. Love the houses. It's going to be another fun class. But anyways, Uranus is change. It breaks patterns, challenges norms, and pushes you towards freedom and authenticity. And it shakes things up so you can grow into something more authentic. Ding! We love her. We love her. But yeah, she is definitely so pretty. Okay, next up, another gorgeous planet. We got Neptune. The dreamer. We love her. Should I wait for ads? Let me see. Neptune. You're gonna look for this little pitchfork thing in your chart. Right there. Sweet Neptune. That's where we're looking if you want Neptune in your chart. Neptune changes signs about every 14 years. That bitch is moving slowly. Neptune rules over Pisces. Doesn't have day of the week because it's modern astrology. Metal. Shocking, I know. Neptunium. Like uranium for Uranus. And the colors, sea green. So, let's learn a little bit about Neptune. Dreamy. It's dreams, intuition, illusions, and spirituality. All about imagination and creativity, intuition, the subconscious, dreams, and escapism, and your spiritual connection. It's very, very Pisces. Oh. No, that was, I just need to stay here. I was like, where's my slide? Neptune's your fave. Isn't she dreamy? Damn, girl, you sluggish as hell. 14 years through a sign. Huh? Really? King Neptune, yes. So she's just so dreamy. The instrumentals. I picked instrumentals so they wouldn't be distracting. But they are a vibe. I love pop instrumentals, especially the Bridgerton like violin ones. Oh. Yes, like all the facets she rules. I know. She's just so cool and dreamy. I love it. But yeah, this is the planet of the imagination and the unseen. Neptune is more about vibes than facts. For our mythology, Neptune is the Roman god of the sea. So, Neptune is Poseidon's equivalent. And Neptune has quite a story. Give Neptune his own reality show. So, let me tell you, Neptune, and his brother Pluto were eaten by their father Saturn. Yes, you heard me right. They were eaten by their father, Saturn. After years in Saturn's stomach, he was finally released by his other brother, Jupiter, and then was forced to rule the ocean. But I love it because when you think about the ocean, it just feels very like Neptunian, very dreamy, maybe like not fully understood. So cool. But talk about daddy issues. Is that the painting Saturn devouring his son? Maybe. That seems like quite a prominent story. Yeah, Cronus and Saturn. Yes, yes, yes. uh Saturn, Kronos, scary. Yeah, so Neptune's got some daddy issues. It's fine. Who doesn't? Um, but yeah, so in your chart, Neptune is going to show where you dream and imagine and connect intuitively. It could also be an area where things might feel unclear or maybe a little bit idealized. The Neptune energy has a little bit of the delusion factor that we love. So, some examples. Neptune in the fifth house. Fifth house is fun and creativity and flings and things like that. So, Neptune in the fifth house could be like a dreamy, creative vibe, romanticizing love, a lot of artistic expression. Neptune in the seventh house is about partnership and relationships and stuff like that. Neptune in the seventh house could be idealizing partners or relationships. Feeling, yeah, your partnerships and relationships may be feeling a little less, structured, a little more fuzzy, a little unclear. But yeah, Neptune is your dreamy world, your intuition, imagination, and the space where reality gets a little blurry. Love to see it. Delulu is the Solulu, exactly. Oh, actually taking notes. Nice. Nice. Yeah, but very cool. Very fun, very whimsical. We love Neptune's whimsy. Last up, Pluto. One of my personal favorites. Oh, just read the description of Neptune and Capricorn. It's so and not wait. Oh, okay, I got you. Sorry. I read it right. I read it right that I didn't even realize you had a typo. Read the description of Neptune and Capricorn, and it is so me. I didn't even realize it was a typo. Oh, I love that. Wait. Anyway, I'll get distracted. No, you're good. So, Pluto. Pluto. Oh, Pluto. So, there's two pretty recognizable symbols for Pluto. So, when you check your chart, you could be looking at this little guy. Don't know how to even describe this. Or you could also see the PL for a little more literal. So either one of those will show up. Either one of those will be, yeah, with like, oh no, you're right. I just didn't, I think since the head wasn't connected, I didn't see it. No, you're right. That does look like a person raising their arms. I was thinking like a goblet with a ball in it, but the person makes more sense. Anyways, these are the Pluto symbols. Praise Pluto! Our favorite misunderstood planet. So, Pluto, you thought Neptune was a sluggish bitch. Pluto changes sign about every 14 to 30 years. Nice little window there. 14 to 30 years. Pluto rules Scorpio. Doesn't have a day of the week. That's traditional astrology. Metal, again. plutonium, and the colors are maroon and dark red. Pluto is a dwarf planet. Dwarf planet. Planet. And also, anyways, I had Haven in mind just for that one. So suck it. We went over this at the beginning of class, while you were in the bathroom, probably. So, Pluto. Pluto is the transformer. Oh, here we go. Transformation, power, secrets, intensity. Pluto has this deep all or nothing energy. Pluto brings hidden things to light, forces growth and change, and is all about letting go and rebuilding. It's your tower in tarot. It's your tower moment. Pluto. I went straight into mythology for some reason. Pluto is the Roman equivalent of Hades. And yes, I've read a lot of that Hades smut. Maybe that's why I'm such a Pluto fan. Who knows? But why did I say that? Pluto is the Roman equivalent for Hades, who was the god of the underworld, the judge of the dead, and the ruler of wealth. Like its mythological namesake, Pluto governs our secrets and our undercover our undercover information. Oh, that's a new item. Let's go. Who got that? I'm distracted. Nice. Well, got a pizza crust. Just the crust. All right. Where was I? Pluto exposes areas of our life that require total and complete transformation. So, where Pluto is in your life, where Pluto is in your chart is where life is going to challenge you, but also where you become the strongest version of yourself. Very cool. Not a fun time having Pluto in your first house because your first house is just like your identity, and having Pluto there just is like one constant painful transformation. Bless you. Get those demons out. Let's see. So, fun fact. I've talked about this before, but Pluto and what sign it's in ties in to the generations that the public knows about. So, Gen X would be anybody with Pluto and Libra. And it's really fun to look at how these generations have traits of the sign that the Pluto is in, as the generation as a whole. So, Gen X is Pluto in Libra. And that was a big time of transformation of relationships, marriage, balance. It was all about redefining partnerships, questioning traditional marriage roles, and a focus on fairness, equality, and independence. And also money. But yeah, so divorce rates shot up because Libra started asking, do I have to stay in this relationship? Like, if this isn't working for me, do I need to stay here? Very interesting. But let me see. Gen Y, or the millennials, are Pluto in Scorpio. So, the millennial era is all about the transformation of power, intimacy, taboo topics, talking openly about trauma, mental health, and sex, breaking generational cycles. This is where I meant to say money. I said it in Libra, but Pluto and Scorpio can be a lot about finances and stuff like that. Delayed life milestones due to financial constraints and shifting social norms. Very millennial. I'm gonna move that. And then we have Gen Z is Pluto and Sagittarius. So this would be more of a transformation of beliefs, of truth, of worldview. It's more about global awareness, aka Gen Z on the internet. It's about challenging systems and ideologies and old truths. And it's about questioning authority and seeking authenticity. So, very interesting. And it's fun to see how it ties in to like generations as a whole. How we can see people born with this Pluto shaped by not only their environment, but the generation as a whole. Very cool. Pluto's badass. Pluto is making changes. But yeah, so Pluto in your chart is gonna be like your I went through it and came back stronger placement. Yes, Pluto. I made a slide. Anyways, the last 2 episodes I've had, I said I was going to share some of my favorite resources and books, especially anything I've used to help make these slides or help learn. And then I forget, so I made a whole slide. Oh, I almost said Gen X, Gen Z. But, so I'm going to share, I've had 3 books that have helped me through my astrology journey, but I also think are really good beginner friendly books. So let me share those now. Then I'll come back. I'm gonna go big screen just for this. So if you're brand new, if you're like new to astrology and you want to learn the basics in a more like hands-on way, there's a workbook. Ding. This is okay, kitty. It's the guided journey through astrology. It's really great. It does an excellent job. It tells you like what is astrology. It goes through all of the zodiac signs. It gives you like the history of astrology in more depth than I did on the first part. It goes into the signs. It has a little place where you can note what signs you have there or if you have any thoughts. It also goes through the planets or luminaries, which is very fun. And it also talks about the mythology here too. This is actually humble brag. This is my astrology mentor, Eliza Kelly. She taught me a lot of what I know. And she's made it. She's a big shot now. She's like a celebrity astrologer. So she's doing really cool things. But this is like, if you like a workbook, this is like this is an amazing beginner friendly like just getting into astrology workbook. Next, this one's a little bit chunkier, but Astrology Using the Wisdom of the Stars in Your Everyday Life by Carol Taylor. Aw, Kai likes this one. This book has so much. As you can see, she thick, but what I really like about this one for my Gemini brain, for my ADHD brain, is it's got a lot of colors and charts and lists, and it breaks things down. Yes, I can definitely do that. But yeah, so it makes it really fun to read about all the different things, and it goes into the signs, it goes into the planets, the houses. um it tells you about your birth chart. It like really breaks it down for you. Hi Elvin, welcome in. It talks about understanding yourself through astrology. Like, I can't say enough nice things about this one. Hi Evan. But yeah, so big fan of this one. It gets way more in depth, but I definitely recommend. It's such a good beginner friendly astrology book, but I think it's also just a good resource for anybody that is interested in astrology, because I feel like even I'm learning I'm learning new things as I flip through it. But yeah, I mean, so much information. The signs, the planets, what is astrology, the history, astrology and psychology. Um, talks about your birth chart. It has a whole thing. It has a bunch of things about understanding yourself through astrology. It has a bunch of pages about life events and how to use astrology to help you through those. But enough about that. But this one is very cool. And lastly, if you're looking for something that's a little bit if you're looking for a book that's a little bit more of like a sit down and read, our girl Chani. You were born for this. Astrology for radical self-acceptance. We love Chani. Also, we love Chani's app. If you're looking for a good astrology app, Chani, the Chani app. But this is a really cool book to like literally just sit down and read. It was written so that it kind of tells a story. I think she talks a little bit about how she got into astrology, how it works for people. Yeah, let me see if I can. It literally just says like Chani. I didn't even check if there was like phone numbers up or anything. But yeah, it's just called Chani, Chani. But an incredible book if you're interested in astrology to just sit down and read. Also, there is an audiobook that Chani herself narrates, and I loved it. But this is fun because it breaks down everything from like basic astrology to some more advanced, intense things, and it makes it understandable. It's got a lot of really fun like reflection questions. Every section that you can read has a section for reflection questions, or it has affirmations. So it's a lot of fun. For you can like literally go find, hold on. Here's my moon sign. Moon in Aquarius, and it has affirmations. I am open to the wisdom that comes when I am able to sit with how I feel. I give myself the space I need. Okay. Who asked? I'm just kidding. But yeah, so that's my last recommendation. Just some different formats for whatever works for you. But yeah. I think that's it. Recap, reflection. Any questions? What clicked? What are you curious to learn next? Do you have any placements that you have questions? Yes. Shoot, what's your question? What's your question? I feel like I can barely hear the music, so I'm impressed that you guys can hear it. I can't even identify what songs are playing. A bop. Yeah. Let me see. Oh, I can hear. I mean, maybe if I just stop talking, I can hear it. I was gonna look at your charts that you guys have sent. Okay. So, like if Saturn rules Capricorn, but my Saturn is in Scorpio. What's the difference between those relationships? Like what does it mean for your Saturn to be happiest in Capricorn versus where your planets are? I think on like your basic level of astrology, I think to say that like Saturn rules Capricorn just kind of helps you to give a better understanding of like Capricorn energy more than anything. I do think once you get into like more advanced astrology, astrologers might look at, for example, like your rising sign. This is gonna sound like mumbo jumbo, but like my rising sign is Scorpio, which is ruled by Pluto. So sometimes astrologers might look at Pluto in my chart to kind of help understand more about me as a person, if that Pluto is in a happy place, or it has good I don't know, it I can't think of the word, um is, you know, sits in good places compared to other placements in your chart. So sometimes astrologers will use the planets, like the rulerships, to help get an even bigger picture. But I think as you get started out, it for the most part, it just kind of gives you a deeper understanding of like what Capricorn means. It's ruled by Saturn, which means it's gonna have to do more with like discipline and structure and rules and stuff like that. So, but yeah. Um, but yeah, it when it comes to like again, it's later astrology, but every planet, let me see if I can find the page. Oh, this book has case studies too. Good practice reading. Okay, we have the Wheel of Rulership. Hold on. Sorry, Bob. This is cute. See, I love this book. We have the Wheel of Rulership. So it also is what helps you understand like what signs work well where. And I think some of it, I'm trying to think of a good example that I use. Like Mars is happy in Aries because that's like very similar energy, right? Um and I think that's like one of the biggest reasons that we have the rulerships, right? It's I'm like, I don't know if I'm explaining it well. It's just energy that meshes well. Someone with a Mars in Cancer might have a hard time asserting themselves because their sign that is supposed to be their passion and their go is in a very like laid back, non-confrontational sign and stuff like that. So I think that's the biggest way that rulership is used. But yeah, I think it's used a little more as you get like deeper into more advanced astrology too. But there's aspects. I couldn't think of that word. But yeah, there each planet has like a detriment and a fall and things like that, which just tells you about where the planets are happy or where they might struggle or things like that. And I think, I mean, it's kind of like if you look at compatibility, right? What there's just certain signs that might mesh better than others just because of how the energy flows. But if I think of a better way to explain it, I will put it in Discord. Instrumentals about to make me cry. Anything else? I think that's the last slide. Any other questions? I remembered the books this time. If you think of anything after the fact, feel free to drop it in the Discord or in the YouTube comments. And I'm happy to go over it a little more. But that's the planets. Hype. Those are the planets. There's more. I'm just kidding. That's the basics. With astrology, there's always going to be more. There's asteroids that people look at in the chart. Chiron and Lilith are both points on an astrology chart that people look at when they're doing readings. My cats have their astrology names. And fun mythology stories behind both of those. But there's more. There's always more. But thank you so much for coming, guys. This was a blast. I always love info dumping on you guys. Thank you for listening and taking notes and being attentive. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate you guys so much. And YouTube, if you made it to the end here, thank you so much for watching. Again, like I said, drop any questions you have below. And I will catch you in the next part. No, I'm just wrapping up YouTube. But bye, YouTube. Thanks for watching.